Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I was just reading a couple of articles, and I thought I'd fire up the camera and do some thinking out loud here. Now, these two articles, one of them is talking about the central bank digital currency, and the other one is talking about food shortages. And now, something that I found in the central bank digital currency article was a quote coming from Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman. And he said that they are examining the usefulness of these central bank digital currencies and how they can use it into an already efficient system, so he says. And so I got to thinking about that quote. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the quote said, but it was something to that nature. Now, I'll leave a link down in the description for you guys for it. But I got to thinking about that quote, and I'm like, the Federal Reserve is not examining the possibilities of this. They are going through with it. This is happening. So the idea that they are examining the possibilities of its usefulness, no, that's not a truthful statement, right? A truthful statement is we are examining how it is that we can get these things in, right? That would be more useful, not whether or not the possibility of its use is going to come to the future. I mean, it's coming. So there's no doubt in my mind that the Federal Reserve will have a central bank digital currency implemented at some point in the future. The hard part for them is going to be, how do you get the people to use it? Because the people are not, especially Americans, the United States population is so stubborn. I'm not sure how else to say it, that if the government says, hey, you need to do this, they will not do it. They say, this is good, this is for your benefit. There is going to be so many people out there protesting the idea, right? Even if it's a possibility of being a good thing, just because the government said that you should do it or you need to do it, they will go against it just because the government said so. So the Federal Reserve knows that trying to implement a central bank digital currency will not come voluntarily to the people. They will not be oh yeah, load me up with the central bank digital currency, bring it on. It's not going to happen like that. So really, the only way to get the people to accept the central bank digital currency is to force it upon them, or to be in such a crisis situation that the people will be yes, give it to me because that's going to save me. So yes, please do it, right? And so I think about that. It was how do you get the people to be in such a crisis situation that they would be so volunteering for this central bank digital currency? And then I thought about it. It's food. Food's going to do it. There's food shortages coming. There's very little doubt in my mind. Just look all over the place for the evidence of it. And when I read the article that I leave down in the description for you guys, it really made a lot of sense when they were talking about the theft of food that is starting to increase. And it just goes to show that once you have gotten yourself to a point in which that you can no longer afford food, you will do anything for it, right? It's survival. You can't live without food and water. You can do without everything else as a convenience, right? But food and water are an absolute necessity for your survival of life. So when you get to a point where you can't afford to do it anymore, you will steal. You will kill for food. And if you're in that kind of mindset, it doesn't matter what help comes, you will accept it. So if the people around the world are starving, or just enough of them are starving, you can start force feeding that central bank digital currency into them, and they will take it. They will take it, and they will love it, and they will accept it. Once you have driven the wedge, it's just a matter of tapping it. And you keep tapping that wedge, and eventually you will split the system. You will split it. So there's very little doubt in my mind that a central bank digital currency is coming. They are coming. How they get it into play is still the question. But with all these food shortages coming up, it just seems like it's a perfect possibility for them to enter in at that point. I've done videos in the past talking about how it is that the central bank digital currency are going to be implemented and the reasonings behind it. And really, the main reason for a central bank digital currency is to take interest rates negative. That's truly what the real intent of central bank digital currencies are. Because at this point, you think about it, like the Federal Reserve, if they were to go and try and stimulate the economy at this point, they cannot drop interest rates enough to get people to go out there and borrow money to buy houses and cars and go and do all the stuff, right, to make the economy happen. Dropping of interest rates is just not an effective tool because they hit zero. They hit that lower bound. And the moment that they go negative, things become, I don't know how to say it, but less appealing. And if people seem to think that negative interest rates work, well, just go and look at the nations that had implemented negative interest rates and tell me how awesome their environment as far as economics go. It's not doing well. Those nations suffered from the fact that they went into a negative interest rate, and now they're paying the consequences from that. We are going to go into a severe, deep recession, and people are going to start going hungry. In order for the central banks to bail the system out, they need to go negative. And if you go negative on people's bank accounts, they will pull the cash out of the system and sit on cash. That means that the central banking system will fail. So in order to keep the people's money inside the banking system, you have to remove the cash out. So this is what they're going to do. And I didn't make this stuff up. This part comes from the IMF, right? And I will try and find the link to the article that I had that I have gotten this information from. But ultimately, what they are going to do is that they are going to put you in a position in which that the cash that you pull out will not only be charged for withdrawal, but also charged to deposit. And that fee will be equal to the central bank digital currency that you left in the system and the negative interest rates that's attached to it. So no matter what you do, you will not be able to get out of that. You will lose money over time by holding on to it, whether it's a central bank digital currency or cash. Once that is the situation, you will not hold cash because it's just going to lose value. The people that you spend cash with won't want to accept it because it's such a nuisance. And it will become less and less effective as far as a way of staying out of the banking system or to secure your wealth. It won't happen. You will be forced into investments or spending it on items because you'll lose it to a central bank, to a negative interest rate. So the central bank digital currency, once it is the full use currency of the system, they will be able to take interest rates as negative as they want. They'll be able to pump as much money into the system, and the idea that the people would reject it would be gone because they're starving and they'll accept any help that they can. And from that point on, it'll be tracked, traced, and your entire life will be to somebody's view on the digital ledger system. All right. That was Uneducated Economist thinking out loud. You guys let me know.